Well, I want to start by introducing and thanking Michelle Hauser for some of her time today. This is the first in a series of videos I hope we'll create, which are a little bit sort of how-to in terms of different community engagement initiatives. So what we're talking about today is actually the Harmony Music Program at St. Mary Magdalene in Napanee, a project that Michelle has taken the lead on. So we want to pick her brain and find out a little bit more about how that was done, what some of the key steps along the way were, and what some of the learnings were. So thank you, Michelle. Over to you.
Oh, thank you, Russ. It's really fun to be able to have the conversation with you.
So what did this initiative, how did it come about, and what was the inspiration for even getting this started?
It's a good question, Russ. What I would say is that what started us off was that we came away from our annual meeting in 2022 with a sense of urgency to do something. I think a lot of people at the church were very concerned about the state of youth mental health and well-being in the wake of the pandemic. Our children, youth, and family ministry coordinator was retiring. We didn't have specific plans to replace her. We didn't know sort of what the whole children, youth, and family ministry picture was going to look like, whether it would be strictly faith-based, whether it would have an outreach component. But there was this sense of urgency to do something for young people in the community. At the same time that was happening, we were also aware that there was this REACH grant available from the diocese, right? So the REACH grant was a big part of that sort of trinity of things, right? The sense of urgency, two or more people willing to get together and pray about something, and then knowing that if we did have an idea of a program or something we'd want to do, that funding might not be an obstacle. So those three things like all aligned at the same time, and that's where Harmony was born.
You've told us a little bit about kind of getting started. What were some of the key steps in the process? And were there things that particularly helped or hindered the outcome?
So that is a really good question. I'm going to take the easy one. What hindered? Nothing. So that was a blessed surprise. So I'm going to say that there really wasn't anything that hindered us. The early steps did involve consultation. And I wouldn't say that it was a belabored consultation. We didn't go for months and months consulting. We had a couple of Sundays after church and a Saturday where we consulted with the congregation. It was basically a temperature taking. It was a 1 hour sit down. Let's just talk. Let's talk about what we want to do for the kids who are already in our parish, the ones who are part of our youth program. We came through the pandemic with those young people, gratefully, right? We were very blessed in that way. Is what might we want to do for young people out in the community? And it was one of those blue sky brainstorm, don't shoot anything down kind of thing. And they were just 1 hour consultations. I took notes, and then we amassed those notes to say, here's how the congregation feels about this. And there were lots of green lights, no one with any like actual specifics necessarily, but the mood was, yes, we want to do something. We want to do something for the kids who are here. And we want to do something for young people out in the community who may not know us, who are struggling in some way with either isolation, mental health, or with their learning or something like that. Then we consulted with the high school. And that was a place to start because we all kept saying we're a stone's throw from the high school. They're right down the street. And we have a number of youth in our youth group, I would say 4, possibly 5, who were all high school age, right? It's just like actually in grade 9. So we thought, well, we've got some kind of critical mass of high school age kids. And so let's talk to the high school and see what they need. And we had a very responsive music director at the high school who was willing to talk to us and tell us certainly where the gaps were in the community around arts. Napanee is a very sports-focused community. There's not much we as a congregation might be able to do with sports, but we do have a lot of interest and assets around arts and music, and could we do something in that realm? So the high school teacher gave us a lot of really good feedback about how we might design an outreach program. So we took those 2 pieces of consultation. The gist of it is we wanted to reduce or eliminate financial barriers that young people face when accessing arts programs in Napanee. And so then I was able to consult with Parish Advisory Council, and then we were able to kind of come up with the pitch that we were going to take to the Reach Grant Committee. Because we wanted it to have a hospitality. We wanted it to be a fun place, not just come here for a music lesson and get out. We wanted to provide hospitality, because that is a really big deal at St. Mary Magdalene's. We're big on hospitality. And we wanted young people to have a place where they could come to practice music, to hang out with their friends, and then do a sort of a casual drop-in that was just those 2 days a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is what we sort of figured we were capable of doing.
I expect in the fall, the outreach was to the school in terms of this is our offering. This is what.
Yes. Yeah. And so there was, I would say, food was one of the items that I applied for on with the Reach Grant. And I think I spent $200 on a pizza lunch for the high school kids, do an open house, so I gave them the pizza. It was the best $200 we ever spent. And we filled them up with pizza, and we toured them through the building, and their music teacher brought them she brought the period 2 and the period 3 kids over the lunch hour. And she was a huge help. We could not have done this without her. The elementary schools were less keen to partner with us because our age group is 12 to 16. So that straddles the grade 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? That's the sort of core market. Elementary schools were less open to the open house, but the high school was, and that's what opened the door with a lot of the young people. And we also had 3 co-op students from the high school join us.
So that sounds like a pretty key kind of lesson learned, the pizza lunch. What other key takeaways did you have, or what coaching would you offer other churches in terms of, if they wanted to go down this road? What other suggestions?
Some of the suggestions I would have is using the tools to run a program like ours. We benefit from all of the digital communications tools, from online registration through Jotform. We started out with a Facebook page, not a website, but we did graduate to a website, but a good Facebook page where we're able to run most of the program in terms of marketing it off of that. And we used traditional media. We did have a news release, and we had invited the media to come and cover it. We invited representatives from the high school. So don't be quiet if you're doing a program that has benefit for your community. Tell your story. Don't be shy, especially, I would say a lot of churches, especially in our diocese, we're in small towns where we do still have small town newspapers. And we've been in the Napanee Beaver and the Kingston Whig Standard, twice, and then made the front page of the Napanee Beaver 4 times, just from the outreach that we're doing. And so don't be shy, let people know what you're doing. And I think being genuine, I think we were all very, very clear at the outset that there were no strings attached. Nobody in the church felt that this was any kinds of, I call it the bums and pews strategy, or it's not a BIP program, and that everybody was accepting that. And this is just a gift to the young people in our community. It reduces their isolation. It gives them training and resources and a skill that is, life affirming, right? Whether they just play the guitar in their basement for their kids when they're in their 30s or 40s, or whether they go to be like a famous singer somewhere, it doesn't really matter. And the lessons, I think, is that whatever we have made it is the language you need to adopt and use to help schools or any other community agencies who want to partner with you feel comfortable that there is not a hidden agenda, right? So we have made it clear in all of our the news releases and on the website that the program is open to children of all faiths or none. I personally did look at a number of other arts programs run by churches across Canada. So, and I copycatted a lot of them. The other lesson is don't think you have to reinvent this wheel. And I would say that about music and youth is a nice fit for a lot of churches. And a lot of churches are centrally located in communities where the built infrastructure of our schools is also centrally located, right? Mm-hmm. So any church that thought that this could be a comfortable fit for them, we've got a logo and a brand, and I can show you all the tech tools that I've used. And if you want to franchise a Harmony Lounge and Music Club, I can give you the whole franchise kit at no charge. And, you should never feel that you have to reinvent something. These things have been done by others, and there is more than a breadcrumb trail to follow. And you can, borrow things from other people and then build on it, and then just adapting it for your local context, right?
What do you see in the future? And I'm also curious if you had any kind of stories or anecdotes about the difference that this has made in the community. We've talked, I think already, you've talked about things kind of generally, being more familiar people and with you and with the program.
The vision for the future for Harmony is that our pre-registration for next season tells us that everybody still wants this, that it's a program people are already beginning to love and want to see it become a regular part of the life of the community. So the future for Harmony is that there will be a future. There is also the potential for growth. We may become a full-time community music school. There are community music schools. The Toronto Community Music Schools were started in the basement of Roman Catholic Church back in the 80s or 90s, and now they provide 700 kids across the GTA with free music lessons. I imagine that we could become a full-time community music school. And potentially, be part of the Ontario Arts Council or Trillium funding stream. In addition to funding we may receive from within our denomination, from within the church, and from across the community. There is a lot of funding out there for arts programs and for programs that benefit young people. In terms of the stories and the impact, can't tell you how many times I've had parents come to me and say, like, this has been life-changing for my daughter or for my son. They felt disconnected, like they weren't a part of something. They hadn't found their tribe. And so Harmony became the tribe for a lot of young people. And near the, for more of the winter into the spring session, there was then a lot more uptake on the drop-in program.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for this work and the difference that it's made in your community. And thank you for your openness and ability to share so much with the folks that are watching and interested. And I expect you may still get some of those calls from parishes that are looking to do something along these lines. So I'm very grateful. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say one thing. I am personally very grateful for the REACH grant. None of this, when I spoke at the beginning about those three planets that aligned, right? And knowing the money was there, because there would have been too many barriers. We have often had to look outside or fund any youth outreach, and it has had to be funded outside of the budget, because the budget is always stretched beyond its limits, right? And the church, we do okay, but there's always, money concerns. So without that REACH grant being that was an absolutely essential ingredient, and we wouldn't have been able to do this without it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, great to know and see how these grants are being used in the diocese as well. So great. Thank you very much.
All right.